name's Carol Corkin and I'm Head of Corporate Services at Armagh Observatory and Planetarium. So today we're going to take a break from all the wonderful research, outreach and education content that you've become used to tell you a bit about what goes on in the background and how you might get involved through the Boardroom Apprentice programme. And to do that, I'd like to introduce Kirstin, who has just participated in the Boardroom Apprentice programme. And this is the first time Armagh Observatory and Planetarium took part in the Boardroom Apprentice, and Kirstin has been our first apprentice. So first of all, Kirstin, before we go into the Boardroom Apprentice, could you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do?
Certainly, Carol. So as Carol said, my name is Kirstin and I am a senior geologist at the Geological Survey of Northern Ireland. My role at the Geological Survey is to look after the information and infrastructure team. So we basically provide geological information to external customers and stakeholders. We also respond to planning consultations to the local planning process, and we also monitor geological hazards. But one of my key roles, aside from leading the team, is to look after education and look after our input to tourism based on geological heritage. So there are two things I'm really, really passionate about. Education in the sense that we need to help people to understand a little more about what geology is and why it's so important, but also in the sense that we need to get more scientists in general in Northern Ireland, and particularly female scientists. And I also look after tourism, because a lot of the people that come to visit Northern Ireland come here because of our landscapes, all of which are founded by our geology. So it's important for us to help people to understand what they're looking at, why they're looking at it, and really how important all of our landscapes are. Mm-hmm. Aside from that, aside from the obvious work that I do with the Geological Survey, I'm also a mum. I've got two boys, and I spend a lot of my time looking after them. And I also like to spend a lot of time walking and a lot of time running. And one of my main passions is cooking, and of course the eating that goes with it.
Yes, and I see from your Twitter that like many parents at the minute, you've been juggling work and homeschooling duties recently, and all of these Zoom meetings that we're all involved in now. And I know we've got lots of little people, and we've got used to lots of little people popping up in our team meetings where people are juggling their responsibilities as well. So that makes it all a bit of fun, doesn't it?
It certainly does. That's a challenge, doesn't it?
So could you tell us a bit more then about the Boardroom Apprentice programme and what attracted you to apply to it?
Certainly. So the aim of the Boardroom Apprentice programme is to try and create a diverse pool of, I suppose, capable board-ready members. Traditionally, there is the association of board members with people who are, say, perhaps who are male. There's more people who perhaps may be more mature, and there's therefore that need to make boards more diverse, and that's one of the aims of the Boardroom Apprentice. And I suppose it also has to make sure that it allows people to do that by making them I suppose aware of their commitments and their role as a board member, to give them practical boardroom experience, and to give them some of the knowledge and the skills that they need to be a board member. So it's really all about increasing their knowledge and awareness and making them ready then to be a capable board member in the future. Mm-hmm. I wanted to apply because I wanted to make a difference, I suppose, through my job, because I work in an external facing organisation. I've worked with lots of other organisations, and sometimes you look at them and you think, you know, I would like to make a difference and help that organisation become better run, or there's things you would like to change, or perhaps it might be a personal interest and you'd like to make more of a contribution to that. So I suppose that's where I was coming from. It was to get that knowledge and experience, and also to be able to really genuinely say I've made a difference somewhere.
Yeah. So our management committee, as we call it, meets quarterly, and you're just about to attend your 4th meeting in June. What has that experience been like?
The experience for me has actually been really, really good. I applied for Boardroom Apprentice with Armagh Observatory and Planetarium for a number of reasons. The first one was because I've worked with the planetarium in a number of science education events, so I have a bit of experience of working with the planetarium. Secondly, the structure is not dissimilar to my organisation, in that we are a research organisation who receives funding from the Northern Ireland Civil Service, albeit through a different mechanism. And it's perhaps an area of science that's not at the forefront of people's minds. So my organisation looks at geology, the planetarium looks at astronomy, so they're perhaps not ones that are, always in the forefront of what people associate with science. And then finally, my passion is for science education and public engagement of science in general. So that's what really, really interested me. And I've been able to see how the planetarium looks at that and how they're operated and how they're managed. And I find that really, really useful. So I've been able to apply what I've learned through my job to how it's put into practice at the Armagh Observatory and Planetarium, and then also see how how we could benefit each other. So I have found it really, really useful in that sense.
So then, as well as participating in the quarterly meetings, you've also had a training commitment as part of this programme as well. Do you tell us a wee bit about that?
The training commitment in association with the Boardroom Apprentice programme, it takes place over a period of 7 months. So there's one training session every month, and it's always on the same day. It's always the first Friday of every month, and it's there to give you the skills that you need to be a valuable member of any kind of board or management committee in the case of Armagh Observatory and Planetarium. So it's things like finance and governance and communication, in learning how to ask questions, all those valuable skills you'll need. So I think that's one thing that people would need to be aware of, is that there is a training commitment. And then I've had the quarterly meetings of the management committee. So that's brought in together with what's already being done with regards to training. And then there's other opportunities given to you through the Boardroom Apprentice programme, whether it be various conferences, various workshops that you can avail of if you want to. So I've done a couple of those and I find them very, very useful. So the commitment is not insurmountable. There are very, very clear instructions as to when you'll have to be going to your training days, and also very clear as to when you'll have to go to your board meetings as well.
Okay, that's really good. So now you're the perfect person to ask the next question. In March, we held our meeting completely remotely, and we're now just planning next week to have our June one remotely as well. Do you think that those remote meetings provide the opportunity for sufficient scrutiny on governance?
I think at the outset I should confess that I was initially very sceptical about the March meeting being remote. I've had very limited experience of remote meetings, or sorry, should I say I had very limited experience of remote meetings prior to that. And some of them have gone okay, but some of them have been a bit sort of, not perhaps as productive as you would have thought, but I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought the March meeting went really, really well, and I thought it might have actually even been easier to manage. I thought it was really well organised, and the fact that you can express your wish to ask a question quite easily on a remote meeting, as opposed to sometimes in a room with lots of people where it's hard to observe everybody at once. I thought it actually worked really well, and I personally was delighted because I was able to contribute to the meeting, which sometimes isn't always something I can do, probably because of a lack of experience and a lack of knowledge, and maybe that's now because I'm further on in my Boardroom Apprentice journey. But certainly I thought that the remote meeting worked very, very well. And I suppose we're now all experts in remote meetings anyway, because we've all done so many of them.
I know. And so finally then, the Boardroom Apprentice programme is now open for the 2020 applications. What's your advice to those thinking about applying?
I would say to anyone who's thinking about applying is just go for it. You will not regret it. It's a really good opportunity to get the knowledge, the experience and the support from working with a board. But also one of the things that I don't think I was particularly expecting was the benefits of the networking that we got. And I don't mean networking with, say, for example, other organisations, although that was fantastic. I got to meet people from various government departments, various other NGOs, various other organisations that I might not get to speak to, but also the experience of networking with my peers through the programme itself. I know we're always able to ask each other questions. How's your board going? How is it working for you? How's it not working for you? And we find that really, really useful. I would say when you're thinking of applying to be a Boardroom Apprentice, do be prepared to go outside your comfort zone. That's the whole point. Sometimes you'll do things that you would never have thought you'd be able to do. I would also ask everyone who is applying to think about the time commitment, because yes, you have training days, you will also have the board meetings, but also the time to prepare for all of those. And that's one thing that you perhaps should think about. I was really, really lucky in that I got exceptional support from my employer. So that's something I would say to anybody. Make sure that if you need to, check with your employer about all of this time and be completely honest as to how much time you will need, and then add on a little bit more. So I would just say, go for it. You'll not regret it, and just be prepared, because what you put in, you will definitely get out.
Well, that's great, and I know that this has been our first time, as I said, participating, and it's been a very rewarding experience for us too. And we certainly learned a lot from you as well, Kirstin. And we're looking forward to participating again in 2020. But also, Armagh Observatory and Planetarium, it's an arm's length body for anybody that doesn't know of the Department for Communities. And the department has 6 members on our board, and they're going out to fill 3 places on the management committee soon. So there's an excellent opportunity for anybody that's gone through the Boardroom Apprentice training to maybe apply for to be a member of our management committee now commencing in 2021. So thank you, Kirstin, for giving us some of your time today and for giving us a little insight into the Boardroom Apprentice.
Thanks very much, Carol. It was a pleasure.